stuffing down your emotions could be overeating. It could be, I'm just going to eat this whole bar of chocolate instead of telling myself the truth about what I feel. And that's the idea. It's, I think, to me, that the idea of stuffing down your emotions brings up a representation, an image of somebody feeling something. Like, let's say they start to feel a wee bit nervous about something.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello. Hello, listeners. Hello, Moira. Hello, Deborah.
Hello, Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Deborah says, hello, Deborah. Hello, Deborah.
Hello, Deborah. Welcome to Deliciously Motivated Mindset with Debz and Moira. Oh, today's a goodie.
But of course, we should just know, listeners, we only ever come on and talk about goodies.
Goodies.
Yeah. Our titles are goodies.
Gumdrops. Yeah, I know, and we have to giggle because, well, I don't know. There's something relatable. So we've had a good chat before we got on here, and I said, okay, so what are we talking? And Moira's the organized one. She's got the list in front of her. I didn't even know how to open my Google Docs, so I just go with the flow on that. And she goes, we're talking about this title today that you can see on the
screen's already wording. There.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm like, oh, yes, because we were just talking about that just before that, like 30 seconds before we talked about this topic. So of course the universe went, we're just going to give you a little bit more info here, Deb and Moira. Yeah.
We're just going to go into this one deeper.
We're going in. And obviously you know what our topic is, and that our topic today is, are you stuffing down your emotions? Which is a goodie. But first, we're going to, if you're a regular listener to our podcast, or if you're not, you're going to do a little learning curve here. And this is to figure out where your emotions are at, where your stability, where you're mentally and physically at right here, right now. So we rate ourselves on a 0 to 10 at the start, and then we rate ourselves from that 0 to 10 at the end, and see if you've shifted in your number. So 10, which is a number between 9 and 11, is where you're at emotionally and physically and mentally, and that is when you are in, I call it chaos, chaotic moments. You're riding the roller coaster, you're holding on, you're feeling you're really going to fall
stuck.
over.
Feeling really stuck.
Or you're, when you're,
there's that too.
Words, yeah. So as Moira says, when you're stuck, and it's in capitals with everything going on around you. And a 0 is when you're zenified, you are neutral, you're balanced, you're harmonious, and you just feel full of gratitude and in your heart, and you're neutral.
At peace. You're peaceful. Yeah. Neutral, peaceful, calm.
Yeah.
Breathing deeply.
Sitting in integrity with yourself, you're okay, but okay. So Moira, where would you be on a scale of 10 to 10 to 0? Where would you be in your number?
For right now, I would say I'm going to put myself at a 1. And I'm because really I'm at 0 But then when I look at stuffing down your emotions, I'm looking forward to this conversation, because I think there's always things
Where
that
we
we may not even be aware of until we start lifting the hood on it, if you know what I mean.
And it does, because we get off when we finish recording, we go, wow, that turned how I didn't think it was going to turn. Or wow, that was an interesting one. Or wow,
oh, look what
wow, I
came
hadn't
up
thought
there.
about those things. Yeah, definitely. So you're going to say a 1, and I'm actually going to say a 2, because all of a sudden I'm not getting emotional, but I'm getting yawny, really yawny, and yawn and feel, and I've just felt heavier.
Right.
The moment, probably 30 seconds before we went on to start recording this, probably 30, I started heavier.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then the topic came up and I'm like, oh, this is a goodie. And then, now gone heavier. So I'm going to say a 2.
Okay.
So we'll just see.
And to our
We'll
listeners also, yawning is often a sign of releasing thoughts or emotions that may have got triggered inadvertently. And so I just wanted to sort of bring that to awareness, because I've had conversations where people start to apologize to me if they start yawning when I'm having a conversation, and I don't think that's a good thing to apologize. It's because it's a good sign. To me, it's a positive sign of something being released, right?
Well, I was brought up with, if you're yawning, you're bored. So they may have those little things. But I do have a client, the one client I talk to, when it comes to, we talk a section of time, and then when it comes to doing the correction and the last scooping up, I start yawning. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? This is not good. This is not good. And she just said to me, it was a couple months ago, she said, I love it when, can I just say I love it when you yawn, because I just feel like, here comes her beauty. And I'm thinking, and so it was really interesting, because I was left with, oh my God, I'm yawning. I hope she can't yawn. What's going on here?
Right.
Over analyzing. And she's like, you yours love that. Yeah. I go into the kin chatter, but so are you stuffing down your emotions? No, I'm flipping yawning. I'm trying to get rid of them. So as we know, so please, listeners, let us know where you're at with your number.
So the idea here is to just jot down the number, and not to get into your head and tell yourself a story about where I should be or shouldn't be, and is it okay for me to be yawning like Deb or not? But the idea is
should I be yawning like Deb?
The idea is we're going to check back in with you at the end to see, did the number change? And it's sometimes, and Deb and I have had this experience before. Sometimes the number goes up because you go, oh, look, I do have things to address, or things that I want to sit and contemplate or journal about, or ask for some help or get clearer on.
Ponder.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. And so, so you're at a 2.
So don't be alarmed. Yeah, don't be alarmed. Yeah, I don't think I've gone from a I don't think I've gone from a 1 to a 10.
No, this is a scale, and it's kind of I don't know that we do quantum leaps from 0 to 10, but we do move. And to be honest with you, we all move. We all go up and down this scale. This is just about awareness, building in loving, accepting awareness of where are you at this moment. That's it.
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
So, are you stuffing down your emotions? I did giggle when we had, are you stuffing down your emotions? Because I said stuffing down. Where did we come up with that? Were we talking about food at that time? Because I was thinking of stuffing.
Eating.
Food stuffing. Chicken. Yeah. And then I was like, you're stuffing down your emotions. So stuffing down, is this about the food, or is this about, are you trying to hide your emotions? So just the title alone, what would break the title down, Moira?
Well, and I love that because because there is multi-layers there, right? Because to your point, stuffing down your emotions could be overeating. It could be, I'm just going to eat this whole bar of chocolate instead of telling myself the truth about what I feel. And that's the idea. It's, I think, to me that the idea of stuffing down your emotions brings up a representation, an image of somebody feeling something. Like, let's say they start to feel a wee bit nervous about something. Just for instance, I'm going to paint a wee scenario here. So let's say somebody starts to feel a wee bit nervous about something, and then their head says, come on, you should feel confident and good. What will people think if they knew you were feeling nervous about this? And so you go, oh, not to do that. And so you push it down. I'm not going to allow myself to feel that. Because, what would people think? What would people say? And so I need to show up as being this confident person that can do this. So then what happens? And here's the key piece about how come I think it's important to think about this analogy of stuffing it down. Because if you do that for long enough, at some point you run the risk of an eruption happening. Right? If that person in that wee example that I just created, every time they started to feel nervous, they stuffed it down. No, I need to show to the world that I'm confident and I know what I'm doing and everything's fine. That it's almost like the more we stuff things down, the more it's almost like the emotion starts to get a wee bit of an attitude. Like, well, what's wrong with me? All emotions just want to be experienced. And when we stuff them down, we're not actually honoring them. And then they can maybe come and bonk you on the head. And maybe make you start yawning
at an inappropriate time.
Yeah. Yeah. But you see that, and that's how come, that's why I was sort of focusing on what you were saying about the yawning. To me, we start yawning when something just got triggered that might have been an emotion that we didn't allow ourselves to sit with. And maybe it got triggered by a conversation or by a thought, by something you saw, something you heard. And then you're not, at that moment, you are not saying, oh, no, I'm not going to feel it. It actually is coming up all by itself and saying, hooray, I get to express or get to just feel through this. So it's actually a freeing of that emotional.
You're releasing. Yeah. It's definitely when I think about stuffing down your emotions, I do instantly think food, and then I go hiding. You're hiding, and so stuffing down your emotions is just I don't have time for this. Oh wait, come back another day. Hiding under the blanket, like I just can't. Like, go away. And it's that internal, and I find it's that internal talk. When someone's saying something, you're going, don't say it.
And then they do.
Out it comes. And oops. And that's a stuffing down your emotion. It's that internal talk where you're not being present and where you're not being transparent to that person in front of them, honoring them and honoring yourself. You're trying to eggshell things, if you were to put it that way, tippy-toeing around people because you don't want to upset them.
Right. But then you're not telling yourself the truth. Right?
That's right.
And
that's right. Well, they're not being transparent.
No. So you say that this idea of stuffing down your emotions brings up food and hiding for you. Hiding for sure. I agree with that. When I think about stuffing down,
because stuffing, I think of the word. Can I just say, I think of chicken, and no, I think of the chicken and the stuffing and the chicken, and then the turkey, and then the stuffing and the turkey. So that's when I go stuffing. If someone says, "Are you stuffing something?" I instantly go to the chicken that's been stuffed or the turkey that's been stuffed. Okay, maybe I do have something about food. Maybe.
That's funny because I'm thinking about knocking. Do you have that saying? I'm going to knock the stuffing out of you. Is that a Britishism?
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm going to knock the stuffing out of you.
We don't use that a lot.
But
Okay, yes, I've heard it, but I don't think we consciously use it in New Zealand.
I don't
do
think they
some
use
time
it
in
that much
England.
here, but it's something that just came to mind is the stuffing is your
I'm going
inner,
to knock the stuffing out of you.
yeah, it's your inner stuff. But then of course stuffing is like stuffing a pillow, stuffing in a cushion. That's stuffing as well.
Well, I still see the chicken and the turkey. Even when you said I'm going to knock the stuffing out of you, I thought, oh,
just
who's going to eat the chicken and the turkey stuffing?
But so here,
obviously,
yeah. we need to do a specific addressing the food part. But for
are you addressing your emotions? There you go.
Could be. Yeah. But you see, the thing is,
yeah,
I witness this with people, is that when we have more uncomfortable emotions like nervousness or irritation or anxiety or depression or hopelessness or fear, any of those lower ones, they're hard. They can be hard to go and just sit with. And especially when a person has maybe created a version of themselves that says, hey, I've got it all together. I know how to deal with my emotions. And then you say, how are you feeling? And they start to cry.
Well, they
start to cry, and then they'll start to say, oh, I'm sorry. That's stuffing emotions.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, they have the right to cry. And it doesn't matter. I mean, as a therapist, I'm never going to judge somebody who starts to cry. But you wouldn't believe how many times they immediately go to apologize. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm coming from. That's, to me, that's a mechanism of saying it is not okay for me to go into this and express it and to feel it.
Yeah, I worked with a lady yesterday, actually. I was just thinking about it. She talked about her children and how she held in her energy all the way through the school holiday. So we have larger school holidays in New Zealand. We pretty much finish the first week in December, and then they go back the first week in February.
Okay.
That's our summer holidays. And so she said, I didn't realize how much I've held everything in, but this week her children went back to school.
Okay.
Oh, they went back to school, and then we had a lockdown thing, so they had to come back home for a week. So they've gone back to school, and then she just said, day 2 of them going back to school, she said, I lost it. I just literally rocked in the corner.
Oh,
She didn't say rocked in the corner, but the scenario of she just actually lost it and cried all day and couldn't pinpoint it. And then messaged me the next day and said, I need to have a session. I've just pretty much spent the whole day crying. And I said, okay, just know that you've delegated it to me and I'll hold space for you until the next day. And then when we talked, it was actually because she had held it in, she'd stuffed down her emotions of how she felt by having, even the dog, it's not,
dogs confirming that.
Emotions. Yeah. And so for her, she had space and energy for everybody during the holidays to keep everything harmonious, that the moment they went back, she felt like, now I can scream and kick, or now I can cry, or now I can whatever. And it all just came out.
Wow.
On such a day that she actually said she cried all day. Right. And she couldn't figure it out. I mean, I got a little bit pissy with her and said, why didn't you reach out? But she said, I couldn't even look at my phone. I couldn't do anything. I just cried. And that is just a prime example of holding space for everyone else and not yourself. And she clearly stuffed down her emotions
Absolutely.
That's 2 and a bit months.
That's an amazing amount of time.
2 and a bit months.
But it's also the brilliant example of what I said to you a moment ago about when we do that over and over and over again. I mean, like you just said, 2.5 months, that's a long time to be stuffing things down. And it does bring about an eruption. And that's what I mean about an eruption can be bawling your eyes out for a day without understanding.
It was a whole day. And she said, no, well, she said to me, I've never cried that much. And I went, hello, you have not addressed anything.
Right.
December, Christmas, kids at home, for 2 months. That's enough. That's enough, you know. And they're both what are they, 5 and 7, you know, they're both young, active, and so it's not like it's I demand attention, and she doesn't like screen time. So you know, so her whole world is, you know, when I talk about screen time, that's TV and, you know, devices and everything. So it's books and activities, and, you know, so she's had to put on I'm
on.
out there face.
Yeah. Completely on
literally.
And
And yeah, so when it came crashing, it crashed big time, like a whole day of crying. And you can imagine, and I got a little bit angry with her, not that she was aware of it. Maybe she listens to this, she is going to be aware of it. But I was like, why didn't you reach out? She goes, like, I couldn't even get to my phone. And I was thinking, well, that's a pathetic excuse. And then I'm like, no, it's not. It's literally actually true, because she was broken.
Right.
She was broken. But the moment she reached out to me, she said instantly she started to feel like it's going to be okay. Good. And so the moment you reach out to like the Moira or the Deborah, you've instantly just gone, oh, I can delegate that and know that they're going to help me when we have our appointment. So you've just passed that on. You haven't parked it. You've just gone, Deborah Moira's got that one sorted. We can deal with it. But that's
I've opened the door to the completely letting it go. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the downsides of stuffing down your emotions, holding that down. You know, it's putting your head under the water and you're drowning ultimately.
Well, absolutely. But
that's it.
The thing about, I think that there's a wee pattern in how I see people stuffing down their emotions is they listen to their inner judge.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Right. So, and it's funny. I used to do this group session, and I would check in with everybody, say, "How are you doing?" And you're not allowed to use the F word. People would look at me like, "Oh my God, I wasn't going to swear." Of course, the F word that I'm really referring to is fine. When people say fine, you're pretty much guaranteed that they're stuffing down emotions to one degree or another, because fine is just don't look underneath the surface here. Because if I just say fine, then you're going to walk away and say, okay, good. She's fine. Or he's fine.
Well, I do just that word. I just have to go into that word because actually we could do a whole podcast on that.
I'm sure we could.
Because when one of my friends who is a single mother to a young boy, one of the words she taught him was, if any female ever said fine to you, if any female ever said fine, they are not fine. You must dig, you must find out, because it just means that's stored up until one day it just goes, and the other day, are you okay with this? Yeah, I'm fine with it. So whenever a woman, and I remember just her saying, it's really important that he is a man when he grows older, will always remember this word, like fine. And if he ever hears it, he's going to go, oh no, she's not fine. I need to find out.
But I think,
I need to find. I need to dig.
Don't you think that even notwithstanding women saying fine, I think anybody that says fine is paying lip service to saying,
oh yeah, anyone. But I just thought
I don't want you to look in and find out the truth right now, because I'm uncomfortable with this emotion, or I don't like this. Do you know, I have this really interesting memory just came up where I was working with this beautiful, beautiful older lady, and she had cancer, and she had adult children and a husband in the home, and they all depended upon her. Mama did all the cooking and the cleaning, and she wouldn't tell them, she would not tell them that she had cancer. And I'm saying, I think you have the right to ask for help and get these adult kids to do the cooking and this. And so she's going, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. This is the way, this is her role. This is her. So initially I couldn't get her to, stand up for herself and tell them. So what I did was I got her to get herself a journal so that she could express what she really thought or felt about these three adults that had huge expectations around her. And so I said, the caveat to it is she had to tell the truth. Nobody else was going to see this journal. I would look at it if she wanted me to, but I didn't have to. Yeah. And so you should have seen her face. I have the picture of her, what happened with her, etched in my mind. So she looked at me, she totally lit up, and she's beaming, and she says, you mean I can swear and I can write out all my anger in here?
Oh my God.
Like, absolutely, please do. Because
wow.
So that was the first step. And I think this is what I would really encourage our listeners to do, is that find out how can you start feeling into the vessel of expressing your emotions. With this client, she was not emotionally resilient enough to turn around and say, okay, I need you to change your ways, and this is what I need from you. She couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But she could express it and therefore stop stuffing everything down and putting on this big front of everything's fine with me, because it wasn't. Right? This is all about telling yourself the truth. You have to start there.
You've just shared something that's really opened up probably a separate podcast. And I spoke to someone recently, and they've just bought a house. And they bought a house before it went on the market, the person to sell it. And so the lady is at home with her two older children. And she wanted her two boys at home, she wanted to move out, and they wouldn't move out. So she said, I'm going to sell my home. No mind, she went, I'm going to sell my home and I'm going to move into, how they have those over 50 places where it's not like death's door, but not a retirement village, but like a gated community over 50s or something like that, or over 60s. And so she decided to buy in there because her two sons couldn't go with her. So that's why she did that, because she couldn't tell her sons, I want you out. Like, she had tried and tried and tried, and they hadn't heard that, or maybe she wasn't clear enough, I don't know. Right. But she couldn't do that. She couldn't actually just say, you boys need to man up and you need to move out. Yeah. And so she went, I'm going to sell my house and I'm going into a nice little gated community for older people, and you two can't come, so you'll have to find your own
defend for yourself.
Yeah, which I was just like, whoa, she must really have got no backbone to be able to say that. Or maybe she did, but just they couldn't hear it. But it was quite interesting to go, and so then just you talking about that story, she's clearly stuffing down her emotions to actually not do that. And I'm surprised, I don't know this lady, that well, but I mean, my thing is, if you're stuffing down your emotions, it is going to come into your physical. I am going to say that.
Absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
And, if you don't address stuff, it's just the physical is going to come on. That's your health, that's your mindset, that's your everything. And it's going to affect you big time.
Yeah.
And big time if you don't deal with whatever it is. Now you can say, okay, today I've got this, I'm really busy, I'm not going to be able to address this today, but I'll be able to do it tomorrow. Like, I'm going to park this emotion, this fear now.
Yeah.
And you can acknowledge it, but also just say, look, I'm going to address you tomorrow. Can I just park you to then? Because you're honoring that feeling, that emotion, that that instability that's coming in, and you've just gone, I'm going to do that, and you've put a time frame on it, but you must address it the next day.
I was just going to say, if you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you want to set a time, I'm going to do it tomorrow by 7 o'clock in the evening, and you make sure you do. Because you do not want to break your word to yourself, because that leads to a whole nother issue.
Now, there's 10 podcasts and what happens if you do.
The whole part in here is your own worth. It's your own worthiness.
Yeah.
You are worthy of your own kindly, loving acceptance and attention. And to your point, you know, if I am in the middle of a supermarket and something comes up that triggers a tantrum in me, and I need to have that tantrum, but maybe not right in the middle of the grocery store. So therefore, yes, I can feel it and then say, aha, I need to go in and resolve that at this time, right?
Yeah, and there's always two angles on that emotion. There's the public one and the at-home one.
Yeah.
And so you can just choose at that time, okay, I'm not going to do it publicly, I'm just going to deal with it at home, or I'm going to deal with it when I get into the car. You can hold it in to get to the car. You know, it's just like when you're busting for a wee. I can just hold it until I get to the toilet or till I get to the car or wherever, the motorhome, I'm going to say, not get to the car, then wee. But it's just like, okay, you just acknowledge that, and you tell your body that. I'm just going to, you know, when I get home, I'm going to put my phone aside, I'm going to take time, and I'm going to work through this, and I'm going to feel that then. So you've honored yourself, because you must acknowledge it. First thing is, you can't, any emotion, feeling, you can't flatten it down. You can't.
No.
But you can just acknowledge it.
Absolutely. This is bringing us into something that you and I have reflected upon so many times in different subjects. Is the first one is to be aware of what is that emotion. Just be aware of it, acknowledge it. I'm feeling this. At this moment, I'm experiencing such and such. I'm experiencing anger. I'm experiencing loss or grief or upset or discombobulation. That's one of my favorites. I'm experiencing discombobulation. But then, if, you know, once I've been aware of it and I acknowledge it, then I need to have some reflection or pondering time. When can I do that? Maybe I can do that tomorrow night as I go to bed.
Yeah, and if you're in the supermarket, just like you were saying, and you feel that, then do it when you get into the car.
Yeah.
If you need to sit in the car park for 5-10 minutes, because if you get home, you're going to unpack the groceries, you're going to do this, and then people want your attention and da-da-da. So if it means get to the car and just sit and feel for 5-10 minutes, it's not the end of the world. Like, exactly. And if that's the best space to be doing it, then so be it. Instead of saying I'm going to do it when I get home, because something happens and you get home and distraction comes in, and next thing you know, you haven't done it.
Absolutely. Definitely. And be aware that if you allow yourself to get distracted from that original commitment, you're actually telling your core self that you don't matter. And that's really, really important. So to your point, yes, if it's just get yourself into the car, put your hand over your heart and just sit there for a few moments in the car park. Because if you're just sitting in the car park, put your hand over your heart, and you could even close your eyes and focus on your breathing and just be present with yourself. That in itself would shift through so much and allow the emotion to be visited with, to be honored, to be expressed, to be felt, and let go. Because that's the key piece. All emotions are impermanent. What makes them stickier or hang around more is two things. One, stuffing them down, or telling a big story about them.
Yeah.
So both of those kind of work hand in hand in some ways too, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to say the chaos. If you don't deal with your chaos, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're not living. And I'm just going to say the word enriching. You're not living in an enriching life if you're stuffing down your emotions. You're not fulfilled in what you're doing. You're avoiding.
Yeah.
More in the dark than the light.
Yeah.
and you may think you're okay. I'm going okay. I'm going okay. Like this woman did, I'm going okay. I'm doing this. I can do this. I can do this. But even when the children went to bed, she wasn't sitting and feeling then. She was like, yep, okay, I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. So that was like her time without everybody else, but she wasn't honoring, like you said, her own self-worth. But the
so
moment
she's
they
just
went to
really
school,
in her head though. What you're describing, she really in her head, she wasn't saying, okay, great, they're off to bed. How am I feeling about myself?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite questions. And I get all my clients to use that one. How am I feeling about myself? That's it.
And that's that rating thing that we do from 0 to 10. That's a great one. That's just so simple. And you don't have to take yourself to a chaotic level or anything. You can just go, oh God, what's going on? How am I feeling? And rate yourself. Like it's okay. And if you feel you're an 8, so be it. Acknowledge it. For goodness, okay, I'm an 8. Wow, I'm an 8. Wow, I'm an 8. Wow, what's going on? And if you feel you're a 2, wow, I'm a 2. Oh, wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
Or not, but you must acknowledge it and you must be able to see it, and then you can deal with anything. Because if you don't see anything, you can't deal with anything, and then you just avoid and
exactly. But this is the thing about being aware. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes me telling myself the truth about something of where I'm at releases the hold on it. If it's like, oh, look, I'm at an 8. That in itself can actually make me start coming back down.
That's exactly it. That alone makes you go, oh, I'm an 8. Wow. God, was it really that bad?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's exactly. And that's just like, like I say, when someone makes an appointment with you, they've delegated that stuff to go, okay, well, I know Moira's going to fix it, or I know Deb's going to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's just that, oh, wow, I'm an 8. Wow. Oh my gosh, and spend 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds or whatever. Hand on your heart. Wow, I'm an 8. What's really going on here?
Yeah.
Just that.
Just
15 seconds, 30 seconds in your day. For goodness sake, is that all you're worth?
Yeah, exactly. You matter way more than that. But that just brought up that analogy of the layers of the onion, right? Because if it's how am I doing? How am I feeling about myself? Oh, I'm an 8. I'm an 8. And so there you've visited that level, that layer. Was it really, what can I do better? Who do I need to call on? What do I need to investigate or to allow myself to feel or tell myself? Because, in this too is that's I said about the thing that can keep things stuck is the story you tell yourself. So the words are so powerful in this, right? Because words, if you say, oh, I'm fine, use that word long enough, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, I've got an analogy what fine means, but say that one here.
Yes, I know. I know that one too. But the thing, and that I just like basically saying, don't use the F word.
Yeah. And instantly, when you said the F word, I went, oh, she can't be thinking the word that I would say. And then I'm like, what other F word is there? When she says, I'm like, oh, that one. I know that word now. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
that one. So I hope we've helped our listeners kind of feel into, tell yourself the truth about what you're feeling. You have the right to feel the whole gamut of emotions, and it's by
you have the right. What you said that.
Yeah,
you have the right.
You do.
Yeah, that's really important. You have the right to say or do anything.
Exactly. Without that wee narrator in your head saying, oh my God, what would people think if? Who cares? You be you.
Yeah.
That is
this is who I am.
Yes. Exactly. I like that one. This is who I am. And then be okay with it. We are emotional beings. We deserve our own attention, our own loving consideration in all things. Good, bad, up, down, in and out, all around the place. So now that we've kind of gone into this, I hope we've given you some ideas of what to do. Of course, if there are challenges and areas that you do need some support and some help, please do reach out to myself or to Deb or both of us. We're here. This is the work we do. We are very committed to helping people feel their emotions and shift through the more uncomfortable ones.
Yeah, you don't have to sit in that space. Moira asked a couple of questions this morning and she took me to I would say a yuck space with some questioning, and then she popped me right out of it very quickly.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to sit in that dark space or cloudy space or anything, I was in and out pretty quickly.
And so that's a good example of, it's about having the willingness to go, but also know that if you need support, ask for it, because there's lots of. Don't
wait 2.5 months and then have a breakdown all day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on the scale of 0 to 10, as we wrap up this conversation, we're going to check back in to see, did your number change? Reflect on the number you set at the beginning, and where are you now that we've had this wee dance through stuffing our emotions down. So where would you put yourself, Debz?
I am going to say a 0.5. And the reason I'm going to say a 0.5 is because I've gone from a 2 and I'm going to say a 0.5 purely because I am going to now message some people that I've been not avoiding, but I just haven't done. I'm going to send my parents a little thank you call, and just let some people know that I love them for who they are.
Beautiful.
That's what so that's why it's a 0.05 and not a 0, because I've just got a few things to do. Just reach out to a few people, phone calls or messages, just to say I love them.
Good for you.
Thank them.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing to do. For me, I'm going to put myself at a 0. I started at a 1. I'm at a 0. I chill at 0 a fair bit. And we were talking about encouraging people to check throughout the day, because I will flick up and down that scale. But generally sitting hanging out with Debz here brings me all to Zen space.
With snorts of laughter and all the rest.
With snorts of laughter and glee. Yeah. All right, this has been an awesome conversation, and I think we'll be dancing back to topics like this. We always tend to do this, name more. Oh, we'll do another episode on this one.
Do a goodie. So if you'd love to know, if you'd love a part 2 on this, please let us know. Otherwise we won't. But we've got some goodies coming up. But yeah,
absolutely.
This is definitely made me think more in gratitude. In gratitude for people. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
Beautiful stuff. Awesome. Thank you, dear Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear listeners. We will be talking to you again soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.